Good morning. It is Sunday, and you are looking at a beautiful shot of Lake Lanier. The sun is up and shining. It was a really cloudy start to the morning, but it looks like that sunshine is really peeking through those clouds, looking nice. Thanks for checking in with us here at Atlanta News First Plus. I'm Megan Packer. I'll update you on some of the day's top stories, and then we'll check in with First Alert meteorologist Courtney Jacobazzi. She'll have an update on Atlanta's most accurate forecast, and I think you will like what she has to say for the week ahead as everybody gets ready to go back to work and school. But before we talk about the weather, we do have to talk about what's making news this morning. And sadly, the big story today is a deputy in Paulding County who was shot and killed in the line of duty. You are looking at a photo here of 30-year-old Deputy Brandon Cunningham, who was killed last night while responding to a domestic dispute near Hiram. He and another deputy were called out to a house, and they were immediately met by gunfire, according to the sheriff's office, when they showed up to the house in the Harmony Creek subdivision. Again, this is in the Hiram area of Paulding County. After an hours-long standoff, the suspect took his own life inside the home, according to authorities. Here is a little bit of what we heard from the sheriff last night.
Everybody, even if you're not in this county, I ask that you pray for this family, both blood and blue. Everybody here is hurting. Our whole staff is hurting.
We know the community will be rallying around this department. Deputy Cunningham was a father of two, and we do know there was a female victim who was shot during the domestic situation. At last check, she was stable in the ICU. Now, we have a crew out in the neighborhood this morning where it happened, working to learn more about the situation, about whoever lived at the home, and of course, we are continuing to honor the life of this man here, Deputy Brandon Cunningham, as we learn more about his life and when funeral arrangements will be planned. We will certainly keep you updated on that. There is a Union City paramedic who is also being mourned this morning. He died after a battle with cancer. I can tell you that the 17-year veteran of the fire department was recently diagnosed with gastrointestinal cancer. His name was Mike Fitzpatrick. Not only was he a firefighter with the department, he was a paramedic, and he was certainly beloved. We are hearing from members of his department, and they just say that he was wonderful. He leaves behind a family himself. As we look at his photo here, I can tell you he had a wife and 3 children. The Union City Fire Department has set up a GoFundMe account now to support that family. A battalion chief with that department described Fitzpatrick as a servant leader, saying his impact on his fellow firefighters and the community will not be forgotten. So again, Union City paramedic and fire sergeant Mike Fitzpatrick dies after a battle with cancer, a 17-year veteran of that department. There are supporters of who would like to see a rail line near the Beltline, and they were out there yesterday unveiling a banner that you might see the next time that you're out there pushing for this. They want to see the city break ground on a rail line right by the Beltline by the end of next year. Supporters say it is important for everybody to have access to the Beltline, no matter where they live. They say you should have access to it regardless of if you live right next to it. Now, Atlanta Mayor Andre Dickens has been supportive of the rail line in the past, but has recently expressed some concern about the price tag. The Democratic National Convention starts tomorrow in Chicago. Final preparations are going on right now at the convention hall as delegates head out to the Windy City. Vice President Kamala Harris is already the Democratic nominee, but there will still be a ceremonial roll call. Georgia delegates are on their way there, and so is our Atlanta News First political crew. Political reporter Doug Reardon will be out there bringing you coverage every day of the convention in Chicago, Monday through Thursday this week, so certainly look for his reporting. There is a statue that will soon be unveiled in Decatur Square of the late Congressman and civil rights leader John Lewis. It will replace a more than 110-year-old Confederate monument that a judge ordered in 2020 to be removed. You can see that the statue is still wrapped up before it's unveiled, but we did speak with the sculptor of the 12-foot statue, who says it's just an honor to have his work put on display like this. The new statue of John Lewis will be unveiled in Decatur Square next weekend on Saturday. All right, thanks so much for checking in with us here at Atlanta News First. I'm Megan Packer. Stick with us here all day long as we continue to learn more on all of these stories, including the news of the deputy who was shot and killed in the line of duty. We will update you right here. We will continue to update our Atlanta News First app as well. Still a lot more to learn about the suspect in this case, the woman who was shot and injured, and of course, continuing to learn more about the 30-year-old deputy who lost his life. Right now, let's turn to the weather. We will take a look outside over Lake Lanier. It's looking nicer and nicer. It was gray and very cloudy here at the water earlier this morning, but the sun is peeking through after a wild night of some storms and rain. First Alert meteorologist Courtney Jacobazzi is here now with an update. Hi, Courtney.
Hello. Yes, today, thankfully, a lot nicer of a forecast compared to yesterday. Yesterday got pretty messy. The line of storms that moved in held together very well and ultimately brought severe weather, multiple reports of downed trees. We still have some power outages being reported across Metro. So this view, I'm sure, is a welcome sight for a lot of us. Now, today will be a calmer day for the most part. However, some of us are going to be a little less fortunate in the rainfall and storm department. We do have a chance for severe weather today, mainly for those of you who live along and south of I-20, which is where our, again, focal point for showers and storms will be as a cold front starts to move through the area. It's already starting to push into the state of Georgia, and that will bring a pretty nice night, especially up in the mountains, as some of that cooler air will start to spill in a little bit sooner. But as mentioned, here's a look at the severe outlook today. So a level 1 of 5 threat. The good news is the Storm Prediction Center did take that level 2 of 5 threat out of our area. It does still include parts of Upson County, but for the most part, we'll mainly look south of I-20 for that rain chance today. Can't rule out a storm in places like Clark County, Oglethorpe County, Greene County, Morgan County. But for the most part, I think mainly south of I-20 is where we're going to look today. But from Atlanta off to the north, you're looking in good shape today. Expect partly cloudy skies through the afternoon. Let's take you through First Alert Futurecast. So by lunchtime, we should be mostly dry still at this point. Temperatures warming into the mid to upper 80s, closer to 90 degrees. So it will be a hot day. We'll warm pretty quickly today, very similar to yesterday temperature-wise. And then here's a look at 2 o'clock. Temperatures in the upper 80s to low 90s across Metro. And this is when we'll start to watch for the chance for a few storms to start to develop, especially again from Carroll County down to Troup and Meriwether County, Pike and Lamar County. And any of these storms that do develop, mainly after I think 4 p.m., will have the potential to spark severe, carrying damaging straight line winds, heavy rain, frequent lightning, maybe some small hail as well. And any of the damaging wind, just like we saw with the storms yesterday, could take down trees and power lines. So that's something that we'll be watching for you very carefully. Again, especially for those of you down in Troup, Meriwether, Pike, Lamar, maybe even Fayette County, Butts County later this afternoon and evening. And that front will continue to sink through as we head through the overnight hours, so our skies will clear overnight. There's a blue moon tonight. Now, the moon isn't blue. It's just the third full moon of the season. So if you want to go up and look at the sky, you'll see a really beautiful, bright, full moon in the sky, and you'll be able to see it because the skies will be nice and clear. Tomorrow morning, sending you out the door, the mountains could be in the low 60s. A lot of the suburbs still in the mid to upper 60s, low 70s for the city of Atlanta. Even though that front will be south of us, it's going to take a little minute for the cooler, drier air to start to spill in. In fact, the humidity will actually drop through the day tomorrow. It's overall going to be a really beautiful Monday. So here's a look at those overnight lows. Again, low to mid 60s for the mountains. Most of our suburbs in the mid to upper 60s, 70 degrees to send you out the door in the city of Atlanta tomorrow. So pretty pleasant as you're headed out the door for work and school. Still going to be a little muggy. High temperatures tomorrow will be a touch cooler. Up in the mountains, places like Ellijay, you could top out only in the low 80s tomorrow. North of the city, mid to upper 80s. Atlanta at 89. Most spots will top out in the upper 80s, maybe a few 90s on the board in places like LaGrange and Eatonton. The further south you go, probably the warmer you'll be, just because, again, that cool air will be spilling in from northwest to southeast, so it takes a little longer to get into our southern counties. Now, when it comes to the wind tomorrow, we also will have a nice little breeze. So tomorrow, overall, you'll have dropping humidity through the day, some slightly cooler temperatures, and a breeze. It's just going to be a beautiful day. The breeze makes such a difference when it comes to the heat. It's going to be wonderful. We'll have wind gusts upwards of 20 to 25, so below wind advisory criteria, but definitely breezy. So just something to keep in mind if you had any kind of outdoor lunch plans tomorrow. Napkins will be blowing around and all that good stuff with the breeze. So something to keep in mind, but really I just think it's going to add to how nice the day will be. Let's talk about that humidity because I think this is what we're all excited for. We had a little taste of fall about a week ago or so. We're going to get another taste of fall, but this one's going to be even better this week. So here's Monday as you're leaving work at 5 o'clock. Dew points in the upper 50s to low 60s. That's pretty comfortable, especially for this time of year. But then as we head into Tuesday and that dry air really settles in and reinforces across the state, we're talking dew points in the 50s Tuesday night. So this is like go grill outside weather. This is go sit outside on your back porch and like just soak it in kind of weather. Going to be wonderful. If you have any plans Tuesday night, maybe some dinner plans, maybe you want to make those reservations to the outside patio if they have any, because it's just going to be really nice. Still warm, but nice. And then as we head into Wednesday morning, the dew points continue to stay in the 50s, and the drier air allows temperatures to drop quicker. So your temperature can only drop as low as the dew point goes. So if your dew point's in the upper 60s, your temperatures can really only drop to that dew point. So not saying we're going to go into the low 50s, but with that drier air, that allows temperatures to drop even more than they would if you were in a moisture-rich air mass. So come Wednesday morning and Tuesday morning, for that matter, we're talking low temperatures potentially in the 50s in some spots on Tuesday. It is going to feel like fall out there. We're talking low 60s in the suburbs, that low humidity sticking around Tuesday and Wednesday. Both mornings going to feel very similar this week. Just phenomenal weather. So maybe wake up a little extra early to go kind of sit outside and just have a cup of coffee out on your, balcony, your porch, whatever you have, just to kind of soak in this weather, because this is going to be a little tease of fall. And just in case anybody was wondering, this is the week that Starbucks does put out their fall flavors. It's on Thursday. Don't think that's a coincidence, but you can debate that. Here's a look at the comfort forecast. So again, Monday, we'll have that humidity dropping through the day. And then this humidity, the lower humidity, will stick around through at least Thursday, maybe even into Friday. Some models are thinking that it will stay through Friday, which would just be a treat for us. Regardless, this week ahead looks great. Again, today, still hot, still humid. We'll have about a 30% coverage of showers and storms. You'll notice the breeze pick up a little bit today as that front moves in. But any storms that develop today, again, mainly along and south of I-20, could spark severe with gusty wind, heavy rain, frequent lightning, maybe some small hail. And then we'll wake up generally in the 60s all week long with highs in the mid to upper 80s. Now, Thursday, we'll have to watch. We might end up with maybe an isolated storm or two on Thursday. But right now, we're keeping it dry. But some models are starting to try to hint at maybe a few storms rolling in on Thursday. But for the most part, this week looks great. Again, really comfortable with that dry air settling in, hopefully through Friday, but definitely through Thursday. And then we'll look ahead to next weekend. We'll kick that off dry as well, which will be great. So if you're already thinking about your weekend plans, it looks like you won't have to worry about any rain or storms, at least for now. But of course, we'll keep you updated on the forecast as we go through the week. All right, everyone. Thanks so much for spending some time with us here on Atlanta News First Plus for your forecast. Have that First Alert Weather app handy, especially if you live in some of our southern counties south of the city. With that storm potential today, just a really good idea to have a way to receive warnings or a heads up that storms are headed your way. So make sure to have that downloaded, turn those notifications on. And as always, thanks for choosing us for your news and your weather. And I hope you make it a wonderful Sunday.